Hi, good afternoon. It's Kate here. Just coming to you quickly with a quick live a bit earlier today. I've got some appointments this afternoon. And I was having a little bit of a think about parenting because if you don't know, when I'm not working with kids in the practice at, side by side, I do parent coaching in my other business. And so, and even with my work at the practice, I work a lot with families and do parent work and do parent coaching and for tuning into kids and tuning into teens, which starts next week as well. So yeah, working with parents and thinking about the role of parents and how important they are in life got me thinking about when we're parenting intentionally and the idea of not just parenting without thought, but actually what happens and when we actually take a bit of time to think about why we parent the way we do, how do we choose what to say or what to do in certain moments, and how we get to that point that we are a little bit intentional, that sometimes we're able to almost observe ourselves in a parenting moment. Not all the time, of course, because that would be kind of like not ever being in the moment, but at times I know myself just actually having that space between absorbing what your kid is doing or saying or showing you, and then having that space to respond in a certain way because of a bigger picture of how we want them to develop. So I wrote a piece earlier today that I'll be sending out in my Friday newsletter like I do. And it was just about thinking about how when parents do get that space to think about the intentions of their parenting, whether it's you're reading a book, whether it's listening to a podcast, whether it's doing a parenting course, how often a big part of it, I think, is about that it gives us that space to be considering our parenting style, our parenting approach, thinking about our skills, our confidence in that space, and what are our intentions when we're parenting. And so one of the things I suppose I'd love you to be thinking about, if you haven't already, is thinking about like the end product in terms of, which is a horrible way to describe our children as a product, but the end kind of result, or what's the feel, what's the emotions that you want either your kids to carry around inside them, what's the feel of your household when your family come together, whoever that might be, what are the beliefs that you want to create within your children so they take that and go into the world, and sort of be holding that picture about that as the end product of saying, I want my kids to believe themselves, or I want them to have growth mindset, or I want them to just, use their creativity in any way they choose to. So in terms of thinking about what do we want for our kids and working backwards to say, right, well, as a parent, how can I cultivate that? What kind of words, actions, what kind of conversations can we or could we be having that will help develop that idea for them? And I really think it's like a broad idea, because children will become who they're going to become. Like, I do believe that they're their own people and they're not mini versions of us, and they're not who we decide they should be. But in terms of, I suppose, thinking about the kinds of abilities and kind of mindset in a really broad way that we know helps people to have really good lives, in terms of how do we cultivate that in our kids. And parents, I suppose, we're so important in cultivating, supporting that, and that part of that means we need to be intentional with that sometimes, in those moments sometimes. Is it giving advice in those moments sometimes? Is it staying quiet in those moments? How are we responding to their emotions? Are we encouraging kinds of emotions, or are we discouraging, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, other kinds of emotions and behavior. And that brings me into kind of thinking about behavior, because parents often will be having questions which is often around what our kids are doing or not doing. How do I get them to do this? How do I get them to do that? How do I get them to be more this or less anxious or whatever it might be? And I suppose behavior is just a product of everything else that comes before it. So that mindset and our beliefs and our thinking in that moment. And then our behavior is sometimes a reaction and a culmination of all of those things. So same with us, our own parenting is all of our beliefs and all our ideas about things, and it comes out in our words, and it comes out in our rules, or it comes out in our consequences, or it comes out in conversations that we have. So thinking about how intentional we are in understanding our own mindset, or understanding our own parenting template. If you're aware of that we have one, what does it look like? How is it shaped? Are we continuing to shape it? And thinking, how much attention we give that, and is that something that we need to do? Because I think if we never even ponder on it, it's really difficult to expect any change or any improvement in that area as well. We almost want to be doing a little bit of a reflection to see if there's incongruencies kind of happening, see if there's this idea that we have for our family, but what we're actually doing in our day-to-day is maybe not matching. And that's okay. We're going to have gaps, in between our vision of how we want things to be and how things actually are. And that's where those little spaces are that we can kind of go, okay, I can do some tweaks here, or I can learn a skill here, or I can practice that more, because we're not going to get it right all the time. We're not expected to be perfect at all. But I think, like parenting, books, approaches, discussions, those sorts of things, helps to bring some of that to light, and have conversations with other people about, well, how do you do this, and what do you find works, and what can I do more of, because this is my goal, this is what I want for my family, this is what I want for my child, and that's amazing that parents want that, and it's beautiful in my job that I get to help parents along that kind of journey. So just a few questions for you there, if you haven't been thinking about parenting at all, or it's something that you think about and then go, I don't know where to start. Be encouraged that everyone starts, coming into parenting, no matter at what stage, without really a clear idea of what to do and how to do it. We certainly learn along the way, but like any skill, we can practice and we get better and better, especially if it's matching our goals kind of thing, or our ideal outcome. If we're kind of like, right, I'm rusty, or I'm not doing it perfect, but I think that if I use some of these skills, the research tells me it, or this parenting model I really like, so I know I need to practice some of those skills and keep working towards it. So that's just my thoughts for a Friday afternoon, and I've written up a little bit more about that in my newsletter. So if you don't already get that each week, please jump on to any of my socials or websites or any of my free things so that you sign up, and you will be getting that. All right, have a wonderful Friday afternoon, and I will talk to you next Friday. Take care.